one of the things I'm interested in, or, I get a lot of questions about, like, will my kids be okay? How, having them in two separate homes, they're not with me all the time. When it started out, and what was was it hard as you observed them, was it hard for them to make the transition into two separate homes?
I think it was harder for Alexa because, she was 3, so she was
Mm-hmm.
still a baby. I think of her still at 3. They're still, she wanted to be home and she wanted to, and I know that on Sundays, she always wanted to come home as soon as she got up in the morning and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And I think it was just harder for her because, and being a girl, she didn't, Jordan and Brent had a lot in common that they could go do in sports and watch. And, she didn't want to do any of that stuff. And so I worried about her a lot. And I think, you know, it just made me sad a lot of the times because I felt like she really wanted to be home, but she needed to go because she still needed her relationship. But you felt sometimes like that you were being a mean person when you told her, you have to go do, no, you have to go to dad's. But it was just, she was little and she just didn't understand, when they're
Right.
young, that it's harder for them to get it, and understand what's going on. So,
And when she did, want to come home, it, would usually be on Sunday mornings. And like she'd get up and she'd be ready. Did you guys had some routines that the two of you would often do on weekends? So she kind of got into that pattern and looked forward to spending that time with you, because you are right. I mean, you were right then. Brent and Jordan could sit and watch a Vikings game and not say a word to each other, but just watch sports together.
right.
And that's never been, well, it's never been Alexa's thing until maybe she married Chris, but where
Yeah,
she'd
now she
sit
does
and
that.
watch
Now she turns it on all herself by herself. So,
when she was, and so she would call, or you would call, and then she would go back on Sundays a little earlier. But you guys had a routine even with your mom when
yeah,
your,
we did a lot with my mom. So, yeah.
and so she would do that. When they had when they did that, how did the kids how did they get along with one another? They're 4 years apart, so it's always interesting to watch their dynamics. Did you see them, like, kind of sticking together in terms of two kids making that transition between homes, or did you see them kind of handling it a little differently?
I think their personalities are so totally different that and Jordan will tell you, yeah, he didn't like her till she went to college. So it's like, so I think, they stuck together. I think that either one of them would have, I think they were a comfort to have each other there. I know that things we didn't see sometimes, I think,
Mm-hmm.
because I know like Alexa would tell me about like times, at least at our house or something, even, but like it would storm or something. And instead of coming, because I don't like kids sleeping in my bed because I can't sleep when they're in there, so I'd make a bed on the floor for them so they could sleep next to me. But she would sometimes go in Jordan's room and just drag her blanket and stuff in there and sleep on the floor next to him because it was closer, or outside his door, or he'd have her come in. So I think that I think they were close as far as they would always stick together and do things, and it kind of helped. That was a comfort thing for them that they were both there, but their personalities were so different. And I think the age difference was enough that they were kind of at a different level on everything, as far as emotional wise and friends and doing things. So they were never close where, I think if they would have been like a year or two apart, then it might have been a little different, but
Should parents, okay, so it's different because I know in terms of uh, the relationships between parents and children, should parents, should they stress over the fact that maybe one child feels closer to one parent during the transition process?
I don't think so. I mean, I think, it's just, and like I said, with like Jordan and Brent, they had their things in common. Alexa and I had our things in common. And so you had that being a reason. I mean, I can see people getting upset and saying, oh, they want to be there more. And I know as Jordan got older, especially after we moved to Pleasant Hill, Jordan was at your guys' house a lot more than he was at
Hmm.
our house. And that had a lot to do with his friends were there.
Right.
He was close to, ever when we moved away, he was still going to the same school, but when he was in Altoona, everybody was like right there. And so, and sometimes every once in a while it would bother me because I'd be like, oh, I feel like I missed out on some stuff that I didn't get to see him a lot, but I knew that that was where he was comfortable,
Hmm.
that that's what he wanted to do and that's where his friends were. And when you're a teenager, that's your friends are more important than anything else in your life. So, you kind of get over it. So I don't think so. I mean, I don't think it doesn't mean the kids love you any less. It's just a comfort thing, where they're the most comfortable and feel the most at home. So,
Right. And then I totally agree. I think, you mentioned it with Jordan. I think Brent probably has expressed the same thing in terms of knowing, you know, it when Alexa would want to, go back to be at your house and be with you, it hits a little, but it's where she was kind of most comfortable. And they get that attention. Um, so I think, but it was what was best where she wanted to be, where she wanted to be most comfortable, and where she wanted to spend the time. And I think, especially on Sundays for kids, I mean, it was just transition. And um, I'm not a Monday person, so I could totally buy into the concept of starting the week every week in the same place. Was that important? I mean, we saw it on our end. And so where we would use Sundays, if we made that transition, like we could get a start on work, get into the office and try and get things organized for the next week. What were Sunday nights like at your house when both kids were back, like when they were younger?
um, gosh, it's more just like a normal, I mean, it just was kind of getting back into the routine of things, making sure that we had dinner kind of about the same time every night.
Hmm.
And they got ready for bed. If they did have any homework that they needed to do, that they made sure they did that, before Monday got started. And then just getting them to bed on time, which never was a big deal because they both like to go to bed. Alexa didn't sleep well when she was little, but she got over that. When she was little, she was up and down all the time. But um,
And
it
she
was just
was
kind
up
of
and down when she was a teenager too, and when she had that cell phone with her, and
yeah,
5,000 text messages in a week or whatever it was,
yeah,
until we pulled that. And
yeah. Yeah, she's always been that way. I mean, she's still to this day, I think, gets up several times in the middle of the night. But it was just kind of just getting back into a normal, routine swing of things and getting stuff all ready for the next day so that they were just calmed down and ready to go. So, and that would have happened. It even was the same way on the weekends that we had them, I mean, that's just kind of what we did every Sunday night. So,